everyone and welcome back to the channel. I'm up here in the woods. It's a lovely cold crisp morning. You can see the sun's out for once. I've just got a nice cup of coffee on using the little Trangia spirit burner, and what I want to do today is give you a look at a new stove that I've bought. Now, a couple of weeks ago I came up to the woods and I done an overnighter in the One Tigris Rock Fortress hot tent, and I used the little Frontier stove that I've had for years now. And in that video I said I was going to persevere with that stove for another year or two, but I changed my mind and I bought a new stove. I ended up buying one of those Winnerwell titanium fast fold. It's fast fold plus with the nesting pipe. I'll show you that in a moment anyway. But yeah, it's do you know in the olden days when they used to say to sailors, never look into the eyes of a mermaid because you'll get enticed? Well, that's what happened with these stoves. I was just looking at them and I was thinking, man, these are so good. They're so lightweight, they fold down so small. And even Trish, she was, oh, we need to get one. So we decided to upgrade early. They're not cheap. We ended up paying, I think, best part of £400 for it. But they look pretty good, and hopefully it'll last. If I get 10 years out of it, then I'll be happy. So yeah, I've got a few jobs to do. Hopefully we're going to be heading off up to Scotland for a while, canoe camping next week if all goes well. So I've come up to the woods today really to process a load of firewood and get that into the back of the truck. And then I'll give you a look at the Winnerwell stove, and I've got some ingredients with me, and come lunchtime I'm gonna cook up a festive sandwich, seeing as it's the festive period. Thought I might do something a tiny bit Christmassy. I'm not going to be getting dressed up in a Santa suit or anything like that, mind. Yeah, so I'll crack on and I'll catch up with you again at dinner time. So it's around midday now. I think it's time to get this stove sorted and get some lunch on. So I'll just give you a look at this little Winnerwell stove. And so it comes with a bag, and as you can see, it's pretty compact. It all falls down flat, and this weighs about 2.5 kilograms. So compared to the Frontier stove, which weighs about 12, or a little bit more actually, once you add all the other stuff in, this is it's pretty light. You instantly save 10 kilograms. Which when you're out canoeing, it does make a difference when you're carrying all your stuff around. So yeah, let's have a look inside and I'll show you the firebox itself first. So this is the flue section, which I'll show you in a moment. And then this is the stove itself. As you can see, it's really compact. And what I like about this stove, there's no loose parts to it. I looked at a few of the other ones, which they also look great, but they have little bits that you screw in. With this, there's none of that. So this is the top plate. As you can see, it's reinforced there. And you've got a flue damper here, which looks a lot better than the one in the Frontier stove. It does have vents cut into it, and you just operate it like that. And then this is the stove itself. So it's I'll just show you the bottom. This is like the updated version, I think. It's the plus, and it has slightly longer legs than the other one. I think the other one had the original one, the legs were only about that, about that long. So once you get the legs down, it's just dead easy. The whole thing just falls together. You've got these little clips which just go in on each end like that. And do the same on this side. And that's it. That's the little firebox done straight away. Now what I do like about this is you can use it on its own as a little firebox. If you wanted to sit outside the tent, you could lay a grill over there and barbecue or whatever. Just give you a look at the door. You you've got a vent there which controls the airflow. So that's the unit itself. It all goes together pretty quickly. I've looked at a few other reviews of these lightweight titanium stoves, and I'm expecting it to warp at some point, but they say once you fasten it all down it kind of straightens itself up. So we'll have a look at the flue system now. So the flue comes in a little bag as well, and you get a little support here, like a tie down point for the flue, so you can put that over the top and then secure it out with some guy lines. And there's a couple of stakes as well, decent quality, you know, they're quite long, and these are to secure the firebox. At the front here you've got a hole, so you can just bang a stake into the ground and just add a bit of extra security to the stove. Right, so let's have a look at the flue. So I think previously this ultra lightweight stoves, they have like a sheet flue which you have to kind of roll out and then roll up that way and then put it in, but this is the nesting flue version, so it does make it slightly more heavier by about ½ kilo I think, but when you're canoe camping, I mean, I'm not going to worry too much about that. So let's get these out and we'll have a look. So you've got a spark arrestor here that goes on the very top, and then you've got 6 of these flue sections. Each one is numbered, so you don't get confused. And they're actually quite wide. This is the one that goes on the end of the firebox, number 1, and as you can see it's pretty wide, and then it narrows off. That's the last one there, slightly narrower. Right, so let's get this flue set up and we'll plonk it on the top, and then we'll get the thing burning. So what I've got here is the grate that I use in the Frontier stove, and I'm going to use it in this as well. I just had to cut a bit off yesterday at home. I think it'll just prolong the life of the stove and also allow a bit more airflow underneath. So I'll just put that in there, then we'll get some wood in and get it lit up. This is the medium size stove, so hopefully it'll be big enough to warm up that one Tigris hot tent. There's a few gusts of wind coming in, so I'll use these stakes just to secure it down a bit. It should do. Get a bit more wood in there. So it's been burning now for around 10 minutes, and you can begin to see some of the discoloration beginning to happen on the hot plate of the stove there. It's definitely a good idea to kind of burn these in before you attempt to use them in a tent. There's bound to be some kind of residue from the factory on the metal. There certainly is on this. I can see the smoke coming off it. and it's not a particularly nice smell, so it's best to burn it in outside. There's a warning sign on the side which doesn't seem to be faring very well. It's already buckled. Right guys, it is dinner time. I've got 12 pigs in blankets here which are going to go in a sarnie. I've got some Christmas stuffing and some cranberry sauce for my festive themed sarnie. But the problem is the olive oil is solidified because it's so cold in the shed. But no need to panic, because I do have some butter which I've put in the Finnish wilderness pan, so we'll get that on the heat and then we'll get these pigs and blankets in. You can see they're just coming apart. Yep, thought that might happen. Some of the pigs have lost the blankets, which was bound to happen, so I'm not too fussed. We'll just let these fry away 10 or 15 minutes I think. So it's all going pretty well. Most of the pigs have now lost their blankets, but I'm not going to worry about that. It'll not matter once they're wedged in between two bits of bread, will it? The only thing is the bacon's cooking a little bit quicker than the sausages, so I might have to make an executive decision to remove them from the pan. Got to ask yourself, what would Rick Stein do? Would he let the bacon go crispy, or would he rescue it? There's no easy answer to these questions. I think I'm going to remove the bacon because it's getting pretty crispy now, and I'll let the sausage cook for a little longer. And then I'll get my stuffing into the pan and warm that up I think. Got a couple of buns here with a decent amount of butter in them and some cranberry sauce. And I can tell you what, I'm starving. I haven't eaten since last night. So I've just got some pre-prepared stuffing that I made yesterday. This is sage and onion Christmas stuffing it's called. Just going to warm it up in the pan. So we're done here now guys. The stuffing is nice and warm, the snags are cooked, I've got the buns ready. So what I'm going to do, so we've got a bit of butter on there, we're going to get a nice layer of sage and onion Christmas stuffing. There's lots of it. Let's get that packed down. Now this should provide a good base for the sausages. Let's just get the rest of the stuffing on top there. So there we go folks, my interpretation of a festive sarnie. It's going to be messy, but it's going to taste great. So I'm halfway through the second sandwich now, and it is absolutely divine. It's like I'm having a religious experience. The clouds just parted over there and the sun shone through, and the taste of this festive sarnie is out of this world. It's almost like the good Lord came down to earth and delivered it himself, a gift to mankind. Amen. I think when it comes to using the stove in the tent, I will actually get some guy lines and stick them on this actually. I don't know if you can see here, you can see how much it kind of moves. The wood burner is on a little bit of an angle, and in that straight there's a fair amount of movement in the flue. See that? So I think it's probably a good idea to utilise this little addition when it's in the hot tent. So I've managed to fill a couple of wheelbarrows full of wood, and I've dumped them up in the truck. I think we're going to need quite a bit of wood for this trip up to Scotland. I think we've got about 7 or 8 days we're going to be canoeing, and you can't always guarantee that the campsite you find will have any dry wood, so I think it's safer to kind of bring your own with you. And I can imagine we're going to be sitting around this wood burner for probably about 6 or 7 hours every night, so I'll need to take quite a bit. But the wood burner, obviously I can't say too much about it. This was just the initial burn-in. I just really wanted to give you a look at it in case you were thinking about buying something similar. I'll update you further, you know, after the canoe trip, and I'll let you know how I got on with it. What I did notice initially compared to the Frontier stove is that it draws much better. The Frontier stove has such a narrow flue that you don't get good draw, and the damper on it is near useless. If you turn it, you know, if you try and adjust it, it just stops the airflow completely, and you end up with smoke blowing back into the tent. I don't think I'm going to have that problem with this. It just seemed to draw really well, and if you use the damper in conjunction with the airflow, you know, it's pretty easy to control the burn. But as I say, I'll have to use it more in the tent, and I'll update as time goes by. But initial thoughts, yeah, pretty good. I mean, it's just the sheer size and weight of these things. You know, it's just tiny. It makes life much easier, especially when you canoe camping. Yeah, you put half a ton in your canoe, but you've got to carry all that stuff around with you. Plus you've got to push it through the water. And a heavy canoe is much harder to control, so if you can get things lighter, then it's always a bonus, isn't it? But yeah, I think I better start packing up actually and cracking on with the wood splitting. I think I'll take this down now, and I'm actually quite interested to see how much soot is built up in the flue as well. I suppose the flue might be a bit self-cleaning as well, because it all nests inside each other. So if there is any soot builds up, I can imagine it'll get scraped off as you pack it together. But we'll see. When I put the flue together in the house, I did find it a little difficult to get undone, because they do fit together quite tightly. So you just have to be a little bit careful in prying them off. You don't really want to bend them out of shape, do you? And this one's given a bit of grief. Yeah, so the 4 pieces that were stuck together there, they were pretty difficult to get apart. But in the end I ended up dropping it on the ground a few times to try and loosen it. So that's not ideal. I mean, this one here, this is number 3 and 4. I mean, it's not really ideal because you potentially dent it and damage it trying to whack it to open it like. It's starting to come there. I'd like to know if anyone else has this stove and has this type of trouble. There you go. That's potentially a bit of a pain in the arse. So I've just been to empty the ashes out, and then we'll begin to take it down. I want to see if this top plate, it has buckled. I knew that would happen. I've watched other reviews and they say that it kind of, you can see there it's totally buckled out of shape. Look at that. Just going to try and put it back on and see how well it straightens up. Yeah, so once you get it back on, it straightens up. So it has kind of buckled a little bit. Not too much though, apart from the top plate. But like I said, I did read about that online. They did say it would happen, but it's no issue because it straightens out once you get it all back together. So that's it all packed up, guys. I mean, it's just such a compact little package when it's all put away. It'll just be interesting to see how long it lasts. I'm just trying to get loads of hardwood actually because it'll burn longer, but you never think about burning the wood in a small wood burner when you're chopping the logs. Stuff like this isn't going to fit in that little titanium stove, so I'm just raking through trying to find bits that will fit in without too much hassle. Some pretty dry hazel around the other side. I think I'll get some from there. Some nice bits of pine there as well. They're ideal for getting the fire going, and I can get the hardwoods in later on. So I'm just about done now here, guys. It's starting to get dark, and you know how I feel about hanging around in the woods after dark. It's not something I enjoy doing, to be honest. So I'm going to lock the shed up, get my backpack and head on back to the truck. So I'd just like to say to everyone, Happy Christmas, Happy New Year. This is probably going to be the last upload I do before Christmas, so I hope you all have a good time, drink and be merry and make the most of it. And I'd just like to say thanks for all the subs, the thumbs up, the comments and all that type of stuff. I do appreciate it. Hopefully next year we'll be able to get away in the truck and do a truck camping video on the continent, but we'll just have to wait and see how the world turns next year. So yeah, doesn't seem like 2 minutes ago since I last signed off at the end of last year. Time flies, doesn't it? But yeah, anyway, I'm going to get out of here before it gets dark. So take care everyone, I'll see you again in the new year.